first live stream, trying to get used to this whole thing. So I am on vacation at my parents' house, and they live up in the northwest area in Canada on Vancouver Island. And I don't know if you guys, I'm going to switch over real fast. This is from their deck, and this is what I get to look at every day. It's so pretty. And we've been going out to, I keep looking at myself and stop to the screen. So we've been going out to all the different beaches lately. And when I'm there, of course, there's just millions and millions of shells. And of course, my kids are picking them up and the whole thing. So I'm taking a look at them and going, oh, these are so pretty. And then my little crafty brain has gotten a hold of them and thought, well, I can make something with those. So that is what I'm going to show you today in my live stream ghetto. Look, I'm like all set up. I'm going to show you. And it's completely like this ghetto setup because I am not anywhere near my stuff. So what I have done is I've taken, here's the mounds of shells that we've collected. But the first thing I have done is I had laid out the shells that I want to work with, and I've laid them out in terms of size. So there's small to large going all the way up, same with over here. And I also grouped them by the type of shell that they are to create these. And I know I'm going a little fast, but I'm going to hold my camera still here in a minute so you can really see it. So these particular flowers right here, I'm going to go ahead and anchor my camera. Using these guys right here, we are going to create another version. So what I did, and I had to do the first step last night, was I took 4 shells. So you can see I've got 1, 2, and then there's 3, 4. And all I'm using is Beacon 3-in-1. I'm sure you guys could use a different kind of glue. You could probably use anything that's fast drying. I tried the E6000 and it was like Vaseline to me, and it just went all over the place. Hi Deborah, hi Emily, how you guys doing? Okay, so once we do this, we are going to flip. Basically, I just glued these 2 together, and then I glued the 2 on the back side. You could also take all your shells and completely clean them all up, so that way there's nothing on there. You could get rid of all the debris, but I kind of liked it. These ones I didn't clean at all. And I just love the kind of the rough edges. And I'm going to show you an idea to what to do with them when you're all done. Okay, so now that I have that, I have all my shells in order of size. And, whoops, what you get in live things is you get everything flying around. You kind of rinse your shell off to get any of your debris. And if you have some that have little, quirks and eccentricities, don't worry about it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of your glue and you just start layering. And of course my glue's got something on it. Sorry if you're hearing some funny noises. There's a deck above me and people are moving some things around, and it happens. And yeah, there it is. There's somebody moving something around upstairs. All right, so you take your first shell and you just layer it like this. And if you feel like you don't have enough glue, you just come in and you add a tiny bit more glue, just like this. So a hot glue gun would also work. Anything that's going to dry fairly quickly so it doesn't shift around on you. Like I said, I do the first one because once I flip it upside down, those ones in the middle would end up falling. Now I tack on my next one. And you want to go from small to large. So there's where the next one goes. I always put my glue a little too low. And notice how I'm doing it on a sheet of paper, because you want to be able to, or you could do your craft mat. I just don't have a craft mat with me. I didn't bring any crafty supplies, so I had to go to Michael's. And you could also attach the glue to here like this. I ran to Michael's and I was like, I need to find some glue. And the E6000 was the cheaper one, but it didn't work. It kind of worked, but it took so long to dry. See how I'm just staggering them? Then I'm going to take another one. And now I want to layer it over this way. So I went back and I went to Walmart this time and I got my Beacon 3-in-1, which is my go-to. And I'm going to grab my next size up and I just keep layering it up. Keep taking pieces. I'm just going to do this one with you, and then I'm going to show you a whole bunch that I've been working on for the past few days in different shell types. So what I prefer is doing them in all the same kind of shell. So it's the same color, they're the same size. And one thing I like about this particular shell, notice how flat it is, meaning that it's not super deep. And I'll show you the difference. This is another kind of shell, but look how deep the cup is. So to lay it down like this, do you see how big of a bump you would have? It works. It just doesn't look as flat of a flower. It just is a little bit different. So I'm going to show you a trick with a deep flower or a deep shell and a different way to do that flower in a minute. So you just keep layering them up. And notice I'm not trying to layer to the base. I'm layering so that my shells are leaning up against the paper at the bottom. So they're kind of resting right here, just like that. I'm gonna go to the next one. And if you were super picky and you really wanted to make sure that all your shells, notice how this one's got kind of like a purpley on the inside. And when we flip it over, you're gonna see that purple. And this one doesn't have as much of a purple. It's just not there. So if you were really picky and you wanted all your flowers to be exactly, you know, really purpley, you could really be picky about what shells you're putting in your flower to make them all very purpley. So again, we just keep layering it up. Some beaches I went to had so many shells. They were more of a sandy beach and they were all washed up. Some beaches, it was hard to find. So if you were on a vacation next time and you are so inclined to go grab some shells, make some art with them. And there's so many fun ways you can do it. So I've got about 7 more I'm going to put on here. And then we got to let it rest for a minute. Because if I tried to move this flower at the moment, it would probably break. Or not break, but see how it's still very shifty? It's got to let the glue's got to set some. Hot glue gun would be right away. I would say that. But I'm not using hot glue. I don't like hot glue for some reason. I always burn my fingers. Even with the low temperature ones, I singe my fingers and it's no fun. So keep on going around. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer. Has anybody ever done any beach art in the past before? And if so, what did you make? That's what I would love to know. So I have another idea. I'm bringing some more shells home to do another idea with some, when I get back, hopefully it'll work out. So look how pretty this one is on the inside. Look how pretty purple. So it's going to look so pretty seeing the flower in a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit more to that guy because it just didn't quite get there. And there's going to be a little seepage. I want to make sure that these guys are pretty well set in there. So I'm adding a tiny bit more glue in here because it's going to dry upside down. So you just keep layering it around. Layer, layer, layer. My favorite one, excuse me, my favorite one is a set of shells that we found last night that I had a hard time trying to hunt down. And I'm going to do one more right there. So it's a set of shells that I was looking for last night. I was actually looking for more of this kind of shell. And I found them. They were hard to find at the beach I was at. But I did find them. But while I was hunting for this shell, and I'm going to let this guy dry now. So I'm just going to shift this off to the side. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to show you a few of the others. So this is the same shell. And what basically it's going to happen, and I'm going to try and get this to happen on camera, depending on how long you guys want to stick around for this. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue here because it's not staying. Here we go. These guys don't want to stay put. It has to dry. You flip the whole thing over once it's kind of set for a while, and then you kind of let the petals open up and they dry hard like that. It's as simple as that. It is so cool. Now, here is the same shell, and I put on a piece of driftwood, and it becomes like a flower that's on a piece of driftwood. If you've got some of your little planters, like those flat planters, you could nestle these in your planters, and it would be really pretty, like art pieces, like little flowers that are sitting inside your planters. Those would be really pretty. Now, the shell that I found yesterday are mussel shells. And I know the camera's not showing you, but this is a mussel shell right here. Like this. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Nevis, sorry, and thanks, Kim. So this is a mussel shell, and what I did is I took, and I'm going to try and angle this so you guys can see. I laid all the mussel shells, if you can see, upside down. Same technique, but I laid them this way. So instead of going flat like I did with the other one, where I went with this shell, I laid them all like this. I can barely see that on the camera. So the pointy part was right here. It's the same concept. The pointy part is down here, and because they're long, I think this is the coolest one right here. I love the dark colors of it, and I know camera's not picking it up to all of its glory, but it's really kind of a neat effect. And again, the 3-in-1, I did hold off on adding all of the base as I'm going down until I had a bigger center. I want to say I did probably about 7 in here. let that set, and then go. I know it does look like a succulent. That's what I was thinking. If you put them in the planters with some of your small succulents, it looks like it's a little succulent all to itself. This is another one I did with a bigger shell. This one was with, sorry, this shell. So this is the shell that I used for this. Same concept, as you can see. So you can see how I just layered them in. But because they have a bigger base on the back, they're going to open up and be just a little bit different. Oh no, this one, I'm so sorry. I had that backwards. This one right here, oops, is this shell. I know they look so similar. The difference is that this shell has a little bit of purple on the inside, and these ones really don't. Because the purpley one that I just showed you is that one. And so see that little hint of purple? You could see them on the inside. And then I stuck a few little fun shells in the center there. This is not my favorite one, but they all are kind of cool and unique and a little bit different in their own respect, which I think is kind of fun. And then the ideas are endless. You could take 3 of these, you know, you could put 3 of them on a canvas, you know, just going sideways, like a long canvas. You could have them going vertical on a canvas going vertically. You could, like I said, put them in planters. You can put them on the driftwood like I showed you, which is kind of fun to hunt for a cool piece of driftwood while you're out at the beach. We're in a big logging area and they roll the logs on the water, and so little pieces of wood get knocked, you know, pushed off all the time. So there's some beautiful pieces of driftwood, and I actually gave this piece that's on the driftwood to my mother because her birthday's next week. So part of the reason why I did this is I wanted to make something for her while I'm here that I don't have to mail. And then also, well, thanks. She found it. I didn't find that. But yeah, the driftwood looks pretty amazing. So I don't think this guy's going to be dry yet, but I'm going to do my best to flip it over. I don't think it's even close to being set. Usually you kind of wait. I'm back to this guy here. See how it's still really wiggly? It's just not going to dry. And I got nothing else to tell you. I'm pretty much done at this point. So if you have any questions, you can leave a comment. I'll try and come back and answer. I'm going to try and put a picture of this up, at least on my Instagram account. So if you haven't checked out my Instagram account, I did post the first ones, and I will try and get a picture of this guy. But pretty much it's going to look just like this. It's the same shells, you know, here's another version of the same one. It's the same shells. And here is, oh yeah, sure, I can show the glue again. I was using Beacon 3-in-1. It's a really super, it's not a super fast drying in terms of like a hot glue gun. It's not that fast, but it's fast enough that in 10 more minutes I could flip this over. I just don't think you guys want to sit around and hear me chat for 10 more minutes. So that's why I'm kind of about to cut this off. But I did try, like I said, I did try another glue that was the E, because this already does have a tack. Notice how they are kind of staying in place. They are staying pretty tacky already. Like I'm having to pull, and it's already forming a bond there. And some of the other glues, when I tried to use the E6000, it felt like Vaseline. They were slipping and sliding all over the place, which is just a big pain in the butt. So I hope you guys have some fun, and hopefully on your beach adventures, or think about it for the next time you go to the beach. You know, collecting shells is fun. It gave my kids a task to do on the beach. They were all hunting for, hey mom, can you use this shell? Hey mom, I found another mussel shell for you. It's right here. I was like, well, fantastic. And then I just started thinking, okay, how could I take the different shells and turn them into something fun? And I just love the idea of the flowers. And they don't have to be huge shells. That was the other fun thing. It's the little ones which you find the most, or the tiny, tiny ones for the center, because you work your way out. So that's what I came up with, was this fun shell art. And I still don't think this guy is ready. I'm going to try. There we go. And see how, now you want to do it, aha, I did it. You want to do it while it's still partly wet, because you want it to flare out. Now it kind of shifted, so I'm going to shift a little bit. There we go. Ta-da! So see how it's kind of flaring out? If you let that set rock hard, you'd have a very closed flower. So you want to let it, you want to flip it before it fully sets. When it's halfway set is what I would call it. And all those little petals of the shells will just open right on up, and you have yourself a beautiful flower. Now this particular one is going to be a little lopsided, but you know what? It's just part of its character, which I kind of love. So thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'm going to flip my camera again. There we go. Hi. So thanks very much for stopping by and checking out my shell art. And I'm sitting here on my deck at my parents' house, and I will kind of show you my scene again. So pretty. So we've been enjoying it, and as you can tell, I'm wearing a sweatshirt because it got a little cool again this morning. So I appreciate you guys stopping by, and hopefully you guys will make some beautiful beach art, and I will check you guys on soon. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.